KWT slaying.
Salama family, Salama, how y'all doing today? This is Jacoba. I've been out a day or two, wasn't feeling too great, feeling better. So I hope you all are blessed. Today we're gonna discuss some conspiracies, and I'm gonna have some of the family join us, and also Sister E might join us today. Hopefully she makes it in. She's always on the run. Karis, how's it going? How's it going? Sister
Hey, how you doing? Just like to say salama and shalom, and thanks for having me on, especially when this was something that you had just popped on up. So I like to kind of see what you have.
Sister Shebrew, how's it going?
Shalom, family. Doing pretty good. How are you?
Bless. So we're gonna talk about a few things. You know, we know the presidential election is coming up, and everybody's excited except for maybe the Israelites. We don't care. Most of us don't. But you know, there's some interesting things going on, and you know, let's look at a video first about this, and we're gonna have some conversations on this. And I really look forward to the different inputs that you all give. So
even in a pandemic, proof America's most basic civic duty can and will go on. Socially distanced voters snaking for blocks in Georgia, Texas, South Carolina, and North Carolina, with Florida on deck for in-person voting.
It's more important than ever to have our voices heard.
It shows that they're taking an active part.
But the level of activity surprising even the most experienced political scientists.
How many early votes have we seen right now at this point in time versus 2016?
We're running about 10 times ahead of where we were in 2016. It's unprecedented. I don't think that election officials completely were prepared for it.
23 million early ballots cast so far. Texas, California, and Florida, all with more than 2 million each. North Carolina notching 330,000 votes the first day. And Georgia now up to 1.3 million, despite some people waiting 12 hours or longer. In Broward County, Florida, a daily inspection of ballot signatures as officials respond to a GOP request.
I was asked if there could be an additional inspection of signatures. And I said, of course.
So far, the number of ballots rejected in Florida, a fraction of a percent, as voting officials also counteract concerns over COVID. In Miami-Dade, poll workers will wear face shields, masks, and disposable gloves, with social distancing markers and an emphasis on moving things along.
Well, certainly with historic turnout, there are going to be lines. My objective here is to make sure that the lines are moving and that people are able to vote conveniently.
As we anticipate long lines here, it's important to note that throughout polling locations here in South Florida, masks are required. But many election departments, including here in Broward, are acknowledging that if someone refuses to wear a mask, they cannot refuse that person the right to exercise their vote. Peter and Kristen, back to you.
all right. So before we move on, let me get Karis' input. Karis, what's your thought about this election? You know, it's very hyped up. You know, we have, you know, two strong opposing sides. It's like, you know, positive and negative, you know, resisting each other. What's your thoughts?
Okay, so there's a couple of things when you're seeing the news cycles the way it is in terms of voting, getting on out, participating. Let me tell you this, since I'm in Florida, I've been hit with about a total of maybe 60 or 70 texts within about a week time frame. And so I look at it like this. When they text and when they call, I've already explained to them, look, I'm not going to vote. And then they ask a reason. And I tell them, like, look, for one, I'm not going to vote for Jim Crow Joe and Third Reich Trump. I said, and number two, listen, this is something historical that Black folks are asking for reparations. You know, whether or not you choose to participate, the bottom line is they want you to be hyped up about choosing to continue your genocide. And I also look at it like this. When everything starts to tally and they start to get their exit polls, they're going to say, oh, well, look, voter intimidation was done, because I'm pretty sure you got some more stories coming on out. So I'll leave it like that.
I agree with that. Sister E, welcome aboard. How's it going?
It's going pretty good. I'm sitting here now trying to get my mind right for tonight. So, but I'm
So,
good.
Sister E, what is going on tonight? Is there something special going on?
It's about to go down. That's all I got to say.
You know, what I think about tonight is get ready to rumble.
That's all we need is that Dragon Ball Z intro to come in, and we'll be good. Man,
if y'all didn't know, family, there's a debate on Berean TV tonight. Minister Dante Forson versus Vocab Malone. It should be a treat. Sister E, since we have you here, what do you think about this election?
About what again? I couldn't understand.
About this election.
Man, when I tell you this segue into what we finna hear about things happening in the Bible. I've never seen a time in history where the world, not just this country, but this world is this divided. People bring up the Civil War. Civil War was just centralized in one country, which was the U.S. But this is where you see us not only divided as, you know, in the U.S., but all over the country. This president has done nothing but spew out. It's a lot. It's a lot right now to take in, to the point that I think people need to be prepared and concerned and brace themselves for what's to come after this. Because you got one side who wants to win, but you got the other side saying that if he wins, this is about to go down. So the tension is tense right now. It's very tense.
Sister Shebrew, what's your thoughts on the election?
My thoughts is that this is a selection, right? And so whoever they decide is going to win, which if it's going to be Trump or if it's going to be Biden, just the fallout is what we're all going to experience. In fact, I went to the gun range Thursday. It's my first time ever going. I just, purchased the weapon just a few months ago during the pandemic, just to, prepare my house. And when I went, you could just feel the tension in the air. There were older white women in there busting off shots. Like the tension level is so high. And I feel like everybody kind of has their eye on what's going on, is just kind of waiting on it to happen, because it really feels inevitable at this point. Violence is going to ensue.
Well, that's the thing I think everyone is anticipating, and I think there's valid reasons for that, because I believe we were always conditioned to be prepared for this. And, you all remember the movie The Purge, right? Now, this is an old article. It says the Purge produces a response to Donald Trump using their slogan, The producers of The Purge have responded after it emerged that Donald Trump's re-election campaign in 2020 is taking some inspiration from the dystopian horror franchise. Last year, it emerged that Trump will seek re-election under the Keep America Great slogan. It later transpired that the very same slogan had been the tagline for the Purge election year upon release in 2016. But while you'd have perhaps thought that the coincidence would prompt Trump's team to consider a change, Huffington Post claims that they're very much keen on keeping it. Now, my thing is this, okay? When we look at the Purge, who was involved in that? Who was involved in that? I mean, it seems to me, and you all tell me your opinion about it. I mean, the Purge, the election year Purge, and I didn't watch the movie. I just saw some of the clips. And if you saw the movie, let me know. But it's my understanding that it was black folks, right, who was, pretty much the center of attention in that movie, being hunted during the time of election year Purge. And it just so happens that black folks are the center again. Black Lives Matter, protests, Trump, racism, all of these things. It just seems to me to be beyond a coincidence that they were talking about the Purge election year, and Trump and them decides to use Keep America Great right now. Okay, it makes sense that he would use it because his previous one was Make America Great. Now it's Keep America Great. What are your thoughts? Is the comparison just in my imagination, or do you all see what I see, that this year 2020 is chaos? It's just like the Purge, full of chaos, craziness, and black folks being the focus. What's your thoughts?
It's predictive programming at its finest. They love to put the truth in our faces, but tell us, put it in a movie or a TV show when they're actually, letting us know what their plans are. So I don't think it's coincidental at all. It's by design.
Karis, what you think? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead. You was finished?
No, go ahead.
Okay, Karis, what's your thoughts?
Okay. So one of the commenters out to Anastasia had put that the Purge election year was on right now on the FXM channel. And here's the thing, like you have Halloween, right? And you have all of the movies, the scary movies, during this, they quote unquote Halloween season. Well, we're having the same thing. And here's the problem that we all need to kind of take into account with this. All right. I was just thinking about this in my car today. You realize the WHO, the World Health Organization, had just issued a statement about herd immunity and saying that herd immunity was dangerous and it was tantamount to genocide. Now, here is the problem that Trump has. He can't go anywhere. He wants to leave the country if he loses, and chances it's looking like a loss. Who knows what's going to happen? But also at the same time, the Hague, the International Criminal Court System, can actually petition for him to be charged for genocide because of neglect. So if we actually start to understand just how deep he is in terms of his options, it's a foregone conclusion, that are we looking at a conspiracy? I really think that we're just looking at the game plan as things are being announced, because see, the dog whistles are now there, and we're starting to see how deep it is, where you're seeing these groups saying, hey, we're going to war if Trump loses. It's already there. The narrative has been created, and now people are following through on the dog whistles, and you're not having anything else in terms of our quote unquote leaders saying, hey, let's come together. That ship has sailed. So that's my thoughts.
So, Sister E, is it in my mind that all of this seems to correspond to the movie The Purge? I mean, black folks being the focus and everything, you know, and chaos during the election season and people talking about civil war. What's your thoughts?
I agree. I think that is predictive programming. They showed that movie for a reason. They showed it to get us in the mindset of getting ready. Like you would think Halloween, great example. Halloween is getting us in the mindset of their holiday coming. This right here is nothing but predictive programming. So the thing is, we got to be prepared, go and find our family members, get with them, make sure they're good, because I got a feeling we're going to have to bunker down for a little bit. Not to mention they already mad because one, job rate is low, economy is falling apart, everything is falling apart. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Excuse the loud noise in the back too.
So I wonder if the Israelites are the only ones seeing this, or if others are seeing this. So here's an article. It was on the 7th, October 7, 2020. The country's lost its mind. Polls warning of civil war or violence shows deep partisan chasm over election. President Trump says 400 million in a tiny percentage of what he's worth. Well, I don't know about all that. Anyway, Bill Fry, 61, is a supporter of Donald Trump in rural Ohio who doesn't share much in common politically with Matt Edelman, 29, a Joe Biden backer in Brooklyn, New York. Except this: they both worry about the legitimacy of the upcoming presidential election and fear an outcome that appears tainted could heighten the nation's already frayed psyche and exacerbate violence in the streets. They're not alone. A new poll showed a large swath of Americans harbor deep reservations about the election results weeks before Election Day and are concerned about what actions people might resort to as a consequence. The YouGov poll of 1,999 registered voters found that nearly half, 47%, disagree with the idea that the election is likely to be fair and honest, and that slightly more than half, 51%, won't generally agree on who is the legitimately elected president of the United States. The online poll was conducted October 1st through 2nd and has a margin of error of plus or minus 2.56 percentage points. In addition, a YouGov poll of 1,505 voters found that 56% said they expect to see an increase in violence as a result of the election. That question had a margin of error of 4.2 percentage points. For Fry and many other Trump supporters, the concern over this election's legitimacy is tied to the largely unproven claims Trump has raised about potential fraud involving millions of mail-in ballots that already have begun to pour in to the election office across the nation. We will be foolish to not at least accept that it's a real thing that happens sometimes, and not just worry that it's going to happen in a greater number this year, said Fry, a Marine veteran who owns a dental management company in Blanchester, Ohio. And a lot of my friends think the same thing. So we know for a fact, right, that they are preparing for civil war. We know for a fact that the Proud Boys, and we know Trump was the one who said, you know, stand ready. So it appears to me that, you know, this nation is ready for war. It seems to me that this election is going to be the catalyst, or let's say maybe the catalyst for untold mayhem to happen, just like it told us the Purge. Of course, it's not going to be identical to the Purge, but election year, keep America great. Come on. I'm like, you know, is it just the fact that everyone is seeing this, everyone's talking about this, or was the script written and people following the script? Now, there are people, in my opinion, who are following the script who don't know it's a script, right? Like the ones who are on a left-right paradigm. And then there are those at the high top that know this is a script. It's sort of like what happened with Bush and Obama. You know, during the election and everything, you know, it was Democrat versus Republican. They hated each other. Then after they all out of office, it's loves, hugs, and kisses, right? What do y'all think about that? Love, hugs, and kisses.
Left wing, right wing, you know, it's of the same bird. You know, these people hang out together, you know, outside of work. I mean, it's all a dog and pony show. You know, the whole political system is corrupt on both sides, you know, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican. I mean, there's just no justice in our government. It's just fully corrupt. So, you know, you can't really expect, you know, our government to govern with justice, you know, when it's corrupt.
Any other comment? Okay. Any other
That's what I
comment?
think.
So, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Cole. My hand was a little slow. I had a comment because here's the thing, and I'm trying to find the scripture in Isaiah 51, and I know that our Bible scholars in the chat. Here it is, Isaiah 51:53. Though Babylon should mount up to heaven, and though she should fortify the height of her strength, yet from me shall spoilers come unto her, saith the Lord. So I look at it like this. They don't even know why they're fighting. They just think that they're fighting over the heart and soul of the country. But in reality, they're just fighting over how they want to portray racism. And so we're seeing that spiritual force that's basically haunting them with suicide rates, deaths of despair, people having to have antidepressants that are getting ready to be sold out of this country. They don't know what to do. And when we are looking at that and they're seeing us and we have a resolute and a stout face on us saying, hey, you know, we know what's happening. It's judgment. They don't want to hear that. So, you know, here's the thing. The foolish don't take counsel from the wise, and they get led to destruction. And unfortunately, Trump is really the moniker. He is actually the example that I think we all have to see, because we have to have something to tell the generations that come after us how we got up on out of here and what it looked like.
So we've been warning the world for a few years now what was coming. Now is here, and it looks like it's coming to pass like we thought. Do you all think this is the perfect time then for not only a civil war, but a war from the outside? You know, Russia, China, things like that. What's your thoughts, Sister E?
I think it's the right climate for it. It's going to have to be an internal division before external entities can come in and do what they want to do. So it's the right climate for it.
So I'm going to share this conspiracy site. You know, it's one of the right-wing sites, but I watch it every now and then because some of the stuff they talk about is interesting. Whether it's true or not, we'll find out. So this is Hal Turner. It says, uniformed Chinese troops on Salt Spring Island, Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada. Uniformed Chinese troops is supposed to be on this island right here, right? All right. For many years, rumors have circulated about the alleged massing of Chinese troops, armor, and artillery in places like Mexico and Canada being staged for a physical invasion of the United States. Most folks, even me, laugh these rumors off. I'm not laughing now. Below is the video from Salt Spring Island near Vancouver, British Columbia. It shows uniformed Chinese military on the back road. Let me pull out of here because I didn't select the sound for it and come back in. But I've seen this video back in 2018. And when you start looking at the cumulative evidence, it makes you wonder, right? What's really going on over there in Canada? Now we know for a fact from the scriptures that the 10 are going to hate the whore and burn her with fire, right? We know this for a fact. So hold on one sec. All right. Let me pull out of this again and go to the video. 1 second. All right. Let's go. So this is back in 2018, family. This particular video.
Even though you did nothing wrong.
And this is in Canada.
Unfortunately, this scenario is all.
Military personnel on the road coming up. Check out this. Holy cow. Whoa. On Salt Spring Island. And they're all Chinese military. Wow. I wonder what it is. Crazy.
Now, I saw this back in 2018. It's now 2020. We have the election cycle here, ready for the purge, if you want to call it that, election year. You know, just like the movie, black folks being the center. And now, all of a sudden, supposedly, you know, you have Chinese troops in Canada. Now, remember, that was back in 2018. So I'm going to read the rest of that article, and then we can have some comments on it. And there's some strange things going on that most of the world, you know, is not familiar with. And it makes you wonder. It really does. So let's go there. Finish that. All right. So I have no idea why these troops are there. I have no information as to why the government of Prime Minister Justin Trudeau would allow such a thing. Now that we have proof, it's time for questions to be asked of the Canadian government. Explanation is required. If this is a betrayal of the United States by the government of Canada, there will be consequences. Okay, here's an update, October 8th. It turns out this actually is a betrayal of the U.S. by the government of Canada and Prime Minister Trudeau. Under the terms of the Foreign Investment Protection Act, a bilateral treaty ratified with China by the Trudeau government in 2019, Chinese security forces can be stationed on Canadian soil to protect vital Chinese investments without the knowledge or consent of local authorities. I'm like, what kind of investment or resources they have to protect like that? I just want to know. Now, not only is China stationing security forces on Canadian soil, locals are confirming that tens of thousands of troops from the PLA have been flowing into British Columbia all year. In fact, PLA troops are troops being stationed in Stanley Park in Vancouver as temporary housing until they are assigned something permanent. Get this, Canadians cannot go into that park because it is taken over by Chinese People's Liberation Army. Anyone trying to enter the park is stopped by Vancouver police and refused entry unless they are PLA troops. One Canadian tells me, you got them PLA troops all over the coast, man, based out of Prince Rupert. A bunch of their military intel people work out of their consulate in town, and they can airlift the assault troops here in an hour, is what I've been told. That same source went on to say that's how that, you know, Trader Trudeau's arranged it with Beijing, man. The West Coast is theirs. They're going to be the ones managing the curfews, and all other going to follow. So, ladies and gentlemen, our neighbor and ally Canada, under the completely fraudulent guise of protecting Chinese investment, has betrayed the U.S. and is permitting China to mass invasion troops on Canada's west coast. So, family, the question is this. Are we dealing here with just right-wing conspiracy? You know, is this, you know, the right-wing evangelical conservative people, you know, once again, you know, saying the sky is falling, but the sky will not fall. Karis or Sister Shebrew, what's your thoughts?
I would think it was coincidental, you know, if it weren't for all these dreams that these Gentiles are having about being invaded, by China and Russia. So, I mean, all the pieces kind of fall together. The whole thing is like it's a big puzzle, and this piece over here and this piece over there might not necessarily fit, but when you start putting them together, it's like, oh, and you start to see the bigger picture. I mean, the Bible does tell us that, the nations are going to conspire against Babylon, and that's what's going to happen. Canada has been, our ally. Today is a new day.
What's your thoughts, Karis?
Okay, again, I gotta go into Jeremiah. I'm telling you, I love reading Jeremiah.
Me too. Go for it.
Especially 51, because you have to understand. I had did something earlier about Enoch and understanding Enoch's time when he had gotten basically the executive summary of how things were going down. Now, we are not in our land, and that's what I think a lot of the folks that, it's emotional attachment. I would love to stay here, but we know that this thing is getting judged. So it's an emotional attachment. That's what we have. Now, in terms of where we're at and how we got here, you have to remember America's now over 23, close, definitely approaching $24 trillion worth of debt. America can't sustain that debt. It can't sustain the money, because here's the problem that America has had. Guess what happens if you are a creditor and you loan too much money? Well, guess what? You're now going to fail. And here's the problem. A lot of countries don't like to fail. And with money and any type of monetary aspects, we already knew what was happening. This is the economics that you start having going to war. And now here's the problem. Because we have basically shut down our industries with COVID and things of that nature, listen, if anybody says, oh, United States is coming back, we're not coming back. We're just actually on a lifeline. And so you have to think about this. What happens first? Well, in my opinion, what will go on first is that electronics would be done. Electronics would be done. You would have electricity getting cut off. Second, that's your communications. You're not going to have a lot of things on generators, because then in that confusion, guess what's also going to shut off? Gas stations. So now you're stuck and you're at the mercy of whomever, whatever adversary is controlling those resources. And let me tell you, America hasn't had the experience of defending itself against other nations, especially when resources begin to wane. So that's where we're going to see in the not too distant future, because what do you think is going to happen? Hey, America's fighting each other. We got to go on in. We got to save our people. This is all the guys. This is all the cover up. And I don't say, it's conspiracy. I look at it and I think that it's prophecy. But we have to understand, for us to kind of, in our natural, we say, oh, it's a conspiracy. No, it's prophecy. But this is what we're seeing, and this is how it's being played out.
Here, Bria P says, I've had waking visions of Russians coming down from the sky on people's homes. The soldiers were dropping out of the sky in parachutes, rounding up everyone. I could tell you one thing, those waking visions, I'm like, I give a lot more credit to waking visions than sleeping visions, because I've had a waking vision. That's the only reason. And, it came to pass. I mean, verbatim, right? And, when we look at all of this happening during election times, that we know that America is under judgment. It is hard for me to believe that we're not at the cusp of, America folding and the deliverance of Israel. And I think it's hard for some people to see, because America is so powerful and has been so powerful that no one can see her falling, right? it's like you said, Karis, you know, and Jeremiah, you know, and you know, she sits a queen, and she says she's never lost children, you know, and she's not going to lose children. But in 1 hour, it's her destruction coming. And so, you know, to me, when I see these things happen and people saying that they're having dreams and visions, and remember, many of the pagan and Gentile kings, they have visions sometimes from the Most High of their coming destruction. And so to say that a lot of these people who are having dreams and visions aren't, you know, and it's not from the Most High, I don't know, because I mean, we're seeing things come to pass. Now, what strikes me is the prophecy of Dimitri Duduman. You know, Dimitri Duduman said, you know, there would be internal strife and chaos and revolution started by the communists, right? And what does Black Lives Matter say they are? They say they're communists. And then Dimitri Duduman says, then from the north, from the south, from the east, you know, Russia, China, and their allies come and attack and burn America. I'm like, so far he batting 100 in my opinion. So I don't know whether or not Dimitri Duduman was a prophet or not, but I don't know if it looked like a duck. You know how it go. So let me share this other thing. Now, this particular article, and I'm gonna share a video as well, is very interesting because it shows you that something really is going on in Canada. Okay, so let's look at this, and it says right here, is this true? Are there really gulags in Canada? Right, and I'm gonna show you the video, this video right here that goes along with it. And it's strange because of some of the things that's going on. So I'm gonna come back right here, and we'll finish reading that little blurb of an article, and look at this video because something's happening.
My question is to the Premier. In my supplemental question yesterday, I asked this government if the people of Ontario should prepare for internment camps. In September, the federal government posted a call for expressions of interest for contractors to supply, provide, and manage quarantine isolation camps throughout every province and every territory in Canada. These quarantine isolation camps, however, are not limited to people with COVID, but provide a wide latitude for many people to be detained. Surely this government is aware of the intentions to build these isolation camps from coast to coast. And my question to the Premier is, how many of these camps will be built, and how many people does this government expect to detain? Question. Back to the Premier. Here's the RFP. And in the RFP, it uses clear language to express that these camps can be used for a broad spectrum of people, not limited to travelers. Indeed, it doesn't even mention international travelers. It's just a broad latitude of people. And I'll send over the copy of the RFP after. So your government must be in negotiations and aware of these plans to potentially detain and isolate citizens and residents of our country and our province. So, Speaker, to the Premier, where will these camps be built? How many people will be detained? And for what reasons? For what reasons can people be kept in these isolation camps? And I'd like to have the Premier assure the people of
Member, take a seat. The next question.
think the public has to know this is one of the worst case scenarios in terms of an infectious disease outbreak, in that their cooperation is sought. If there are people who are non-compliant, there are definitely laws and public health powers that can quarantine people in mandatory settings. It's potential you could track people, put bracelets on their arms, have police and other setups to ensure quarantine is undertaken. It is better to be preemptive and precautionary and take the heat of people thinking you might be overreactionary, get ahead of the curve, and then think about whether you've overreacted later. But it's such a serious situation that I think decisive early action is the key.
Police checkpoints are set up on all the bridges, and everyone leaving the city is required to show proof of vaccination. Those who refuse to cooperate are taken away to temporary detention centers.
I'm telling you, if people don't do what is supposed to be done, because it's not only your life, but the life of others that will be in measure, I will be very a bad boy. I can be a bad boy, very bad boy.
So, what do you all think of that? It seems to me that, Canada is ripe for the initial stages of the takeover, right? So why not send the Chinese troops there and for Canada to roll over? Because Canada pretty much, always been this universalist type of mindset anyway, right? And so now we know Canada, they barely have any guns. So if they try to force vaccinations and all of those things here, they know for a fact that they're going to have opposition with guns. It's not going to be that easy. So therefore, it seems to me that, you have to have outside forces come in and take over, right? Because America is not going to give up its freedoms. It's not going to give up their liberties without a fight. It's not going to happen. So it just seems to me that, with the guy in Parliament talking about these camps that are being built for quote unquote vaccination purposes and other reasons, because they don't qualify who these camps are going to be used for, tells me a lot of things that is getting ready to set off. Just my opinion. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, no coincidences here. We have FEMA camps here in America as well, and they're ready to be filled with people who are refusing to take this satanic vaccine. I mean, the vaccine is so demonic that one of the elements in it is the what is it? Luciferase. It's LUCIFERASE. It's like a bioluminescent agent that the fireflies use. Certain marine creatures have this element. It's what makes them glow in the dark. So they have to use this in Bill Gates' quantum dot vaccine in order to make it work. And they recently had to stop, the trials on this vaccine because of quote unquote neurological problems with a couple of the recipients. Because after they took that vaccine, they said that they could no longer feel God. There's an element that addresses what this quote unquote God gene, that it attacks that gene. So they're going to make it, they can track you with this, it's genetic and it's it has tracking software in it as well. So they're going to be able to see who does and who doesn't have this vaccine. And so then it's going to eventually come to the point where you cannot buy, sell, without this vaccine. You cannot travel without this vaccine. So this is where we're going to have to decide, where we are, if our faith is in the Most High, or if we're going to put our faith in man, because it's really going to come down to that. We're really going to have to decide what we believe, and who we put our trust in, because these people are trying to kill us. I mean, it's just no other way around it. They want to kill us. If they can't kill us, they want to control us.
And I agree with that. And according to my research as well, dealing with the hydrogel, that thing, if it does what they say it does, pretty much you're going to be a Borg. If you all ever watch Star Trek,
exactly.
You're going to be part of the collective. You won't have your own will or anything. And that's what they've been pursuing is the to take over your mind, to take over your soul, your psyche, all of that, right? What's your thoughts, Karis?
Well, first of all, I just want to say I think that y'all are picking on Canada and the Canadians. I mean, look, they done lost the Vancouver Grizzlies that went down to Memphis. Okay, we tried to give them a little something with the Toronto Raptors winning a few years ago. And, they were trying to push Canadian Football League real hard, So, I think we need to stop going hard on the Canadians. No, but I look at it like this. China.
What you say?
I got my moose milk,
We just having fun, y'all. Go ahead.
Sorry, there are any Canadians on in there. But it's one of those things. Look, China has, in its time, it has diversified its portfolio to where, yes, the U.S. is number one, but China is number two. And China is can quickly call on debts, because here's the thing. China is coming in with a fresher perspective with how they're looking at things. They're not the perfect model, no. But what they do have, and like they've always shown the propensity to do, they can always say, well, we're not as racist as the United States. That's what they can say. Well, you know what? We may have dislocated some African workers here, but nobody got lynched. Nobody got killed. We'll lock them up, but it's better than them, being locked up and dying, So that's kind of their moral argument and turpitudes that they feel provides that leverage of negotiating. For the United States, their playbook is done, just as someone had commented. The playbook of the United States was living by racism. It had lived by racism. It was founded by racism. And unfortunately, it's dying from racism. And we're seeing the cancer of racism is in stage 4. And now, no matter how much they try to use any type of chemo or dialysis or other, radical treatments, it's not going to work. And we're seeing that because here's the problem. Basically, when you were pulling out that article, you may come out with this one also, but most of the world says that President Xi of China, is more believable than Trump. And that's a problem. That's a big problem. That means that the U.S. basically has fallen. And now what it shows to the world is, okay, well, I guess it is time to destroy him. That's one less thing we have to worry about. If we need aid or any type of economic relief, well, guess what? We can get it from China, no strings attached. That's why you can't fault those African nations that have really just sold on out to China, because here's what China was saying. We just want to deal with the money, and that's that. They're not coming through with the LGBTQP RS plus 25 infinity formula. They're not trying to have any type of social reforms or social justice or bringing about, abortion clinics. They're not saying any of that. So, why deal with that when, okay, I can deal with China throwing up a couple of skyscrapers, in like 2 years, and then having to deal with the US and their stuff. I mean, for me, the choice is clear. And now we're seeing, look, all the stuff that we understood here in these forums, the Gentiles couldn't see that because, for them is, our right is our word. That's our philosophy. And now with this challenge coming and now with the internal fighting, for them, it's a fog of craziness that they can't really understand.
So I'm going to answer this question here. And if you all want to answer that, that's fine. Minister Tail, can you answer that question? What happens if they force the vaccine on you? Well, they're not going to force it on me because I'm going to be like the Hebrew boys, right? Say, well, my God is able to save me, right? My God is able to save me. But if he don't, I'm not going to bow the knee. So my God is able to save me. He's able to save. But if he don't, I'm not bowing the knee. So my point is this. In some things, you have to be willing to die. Everybody has to die, right? The question is when. Will everybody even make it out of this what's coming? We don't know. We hope and pray. But my God is able to save me. But if he don't, I'm not bowing the knee. Any other comments?
We'll tell you, I want to just sneak this one on in there. I'm glad that you are saying that, but I come from a different perspective that I'll be asking the Most High, hey, give me the strength of Samson and let me have those hands so I can do the work like David. I'm gonna be slaying everybody. So.
Wait.
On now.
Don't get it confused. Let's not get it confused.
Everybody's getting it. I'm gonna be like the human tornado.
Confused, Karis, because here's the thing, bro. I'm ready, and my God's able to save me. Now I ain't rolling over. Don't get me wrong. Somebody coming with me. I ain't gonna make it easy on you. See, I ain't on that little passive trip. I ain't gonna lie. I ain't gonna let you just come up here and try to jug me, right? I ain't gonna let you just come up here and try to tear me down and hold me down and inject me. No. It ain't gonna be like that. My point is this. I know that they're stronger than me. There's many more than me. And if I can't win, then I know my God can step in and send his angels and fight for me. Worst case scenario, I will die and go to heaven and be with my king. But let's not get it twisted. It ain't gonna be easy. I ain't folding over for nobody. But go ahead, Karis. I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, that's all I want to say.
All right, Johnny Bell, welcome on. You have any comments? Or did you come just to listen? All right, I'm gonna just put you back on the background end. And let's see. Well, hold on. Let me unmute you first. Hello?
Yeah.
John?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, can you turn off your TV?
No, I'm in my semi truck, so I guess I'll just listen if it's too loud. So go ahead and mute me.
All right, that'll work.
All right.
All right, family. So I want to read something to you. Two more things, and we're gonna call it an end for the evening. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 15. All right, verse 46. Right, we're gonna go to let's see where we're gonna go. Let's go to 50. And you, Asia, who share in the splendor of Babylon and the glory of her person, woe to you, miserable wretch, for you have made yourself like her. Is not China trying to make herself like the new Babylon, the new America? You decked out your daughters for prostitution to please and glory in your lovers. You have always lusted after you. You have imitated that hateful one in all her deeds and devices. Therefore, Yah says, I will send evils upon you, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, pestilence, bringing ruin to your houses, bringing destruction and death. And the glory of your strength shall wither like a flower when the heat shall rise that is sent upon you. Let's continue. Verse 51. You shall be weakened like a wretched woman who is beaten and wounded, so that you cannot receive your mighty lovers. Would I have dealt with you so violently, says the Lord, if you had not killed my chosen people, continually exalting and clapping your hands and talking about their debt when you were drunk? Beautify your face, the reward of a prostitute is in your lap. Therefore you shall receive your recompense. As you will do to my chosen, says the Lord, so God will do to you. It will hand you over to adversities. Your children shall die of hunger, and you shall fall by the sword, and your city shall be wiped out, and all your people who are in the open country shall fall by the sword. Those who are in the mountains and highlands shall perish of hunger, and they shall eat their own flesh for hunger. So I'll stop there. You could go read the rest. So one thing we see here is that Asia is going to get the same recompense, right, that Babylon has, right? Babylon is going to be destroyed for what she's done to God's chosen. And who knows what Asia is going to do. We know they already persecuted our people who were there in their own land. All right. And so the final article is going to be about just continued stuff, right? All right. So UK fighter jets intercept Russian bombers off Scotland coast. UK military jets on October 14 intercepted 2 Russian bombers that were heading toward British airspace off the coast of Scotland, according to the Royal Air Force. The Russian Tu-160 jets, also known as Blackjacks, were initially tracked by Norwegian jets. After being picked up by a NATO radar, the RAF said in a statement. Such interceptions aren't rare, but reflect the ongoing strategic tussles with Russia in Northern Europe and the growing military value of the Arctic region. Russian military aircraft regularly test the response of adversaries, including the U.S. The Blackjacks then turned north, and NATO's shepherding duties handed back to the Norwegian Air Force. While Russian Blackjacks were designed in the 70s, they are still the largest, heaviest military aircraft that can fly at Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound. In March, U.S. jets intercepted Russian reconnaissance planes that were monitoring U.S. submarines emerging through the Arctic ice, according to a military commander who described the Arctic as the new front line of our homeland defense. The Russian Tu-142 bomber reconnaissance planes did not enter U.S. or Canadian airspace, but flew for 4 hours, escorted by U.S. and Canadian jets within what is known as the Air Defense Identification Zone. The head of U.S. NORTHCOM said it demonstrates how the Arctic is becoming an increasingly contested battle space. So we're going to leave it there. So one thing I want to let everyone know, and I'm not going to show the article. So, you have all of this stuff happening during the election cycle, the whole thing with the Purge, right? Which dealt with a movie that dealt with Black people, right? Now, during this time, not only do we have the potential for civil war, internal strife, and an election that is not going to be accepted by the majority of people, whether the left wins or the right wins, we know for a fact that there's going to be some kind of disagreement at the end of this election. So what better opportunity than for your enemies to hit you while you're down, right? While you're dealing with civil strife and unrest and all of these types of things. And so, what makes it even more intriguing is the fact that in India, they were fighting at that Kashmir border. well, not fighting, but have a, well, they did fight in the past a few months ago. But at the Indian border, the Chinese brought 60,000 troops at the edge of the Indian border. I'm of the opinion that the reason why China wants to secure the Indian border is for when this war kicks off with the U.S. and India and their allies will not be able to come through that part of the territory, right, through the Kashmir Mountains and hit them from that part of the country. So I believe that's why, 60,000 troops is a lot, right? So, seems to me they're trying to make sure they can shore up that area. I don't think they're going to try to take it right now, but I think it's more so about security. Any comments, fam?
Okay, I'll jump on in with this one because here's the thing. A lot of people don't realize tomorrow, that's October 18th, the JCPOA parts of those elements, that's the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. That was the whole Iranian deterrence for it to purchase weapons and those sanctions, they are actually lifted. And so earlier this week, I believe it was either on AP or Reuters, Iran was telling the U.S. it had lost. It had lost because all the things that the U.S. had tried to do to deter Iran had failed because there was no one else that was going to back the measures that the U.S. had put forth. So when that goes along with everything that's happening, you have to remember, look, you have the economic arm, you now have the diplomatic arm. Okay, and that was part of the UN, is the diplomatic arm. Now, in terms of what we're seeing right now, that wasn't the only quote unquote intrusion that Russia has had within the United States. And I think an article had come about, I think maybe a year or so ago, where Russia was able to fly over the United States as part of a pact or a treaty in order to update their maps and things of that nature. So the U.S. is able to do that over Russia, and then Russia is able to do that over the U.S. Now, the point of consternation was when Trump had said something about that and not wanting to allow those flights to continue. And I look at that, listen, there's a dichotomy here. A dichotomy is, look, I will rather sell the country out and try to, live in terms of the new dynamic, or I will, try to fight and keep the country the same, without changing anything. And, I believe that those are the higher echelons that we don't see or don't even know about. That's probably that mode of thinking, or Trump would like to say deep state. Now, no matter what, in its present form, there's no benefit to Black folks whatsoever. It's no quote unquote Israelites or, Hebrews. So for us, we are always going to be kind of the standout and the stand away. But you have to understand who also pulls the strings for China. You can have a big dog, right? You can have a German Shepherd, a Great Dane, a Rottweiler, a Pit Bull, but guess what? It can growl, it can bite down and lock jaw, but if it doesn't have any food, it's not going to last for a while. It's going to give on up. If it doesn't have the resources, it won't last. And guess who has those resources? Africa does. So I believe that at the same time, when we were seeing all the 400 years of return, all the other countries that were wanting to, get their brothers and sisters back, that was the moniker last year. I believe that is really the case, because even Africa knows, listen, we are nation builders. We are nation builders. So I believe that, yes, our release, quote unquote, our probation is part of those terms. So that's just my thoughts.
So, family, we're going to be winding up. Sister Shebrew, any final comments?
I just want to thank you for the opportunity to come on, and speak with the family. I love your ministry. I share it with my friends and family that are open, to who we are, or who know who we are, or who I think, are ready to learn, who we are. But I want to continue to pray for you that you guys, continue to be covered, and Yah continues to bless you. And I ask that you would also pray for me.
Yeah, definitely. I pray for the family all the time, and I want to thank you all who do support us. Because it helps a lot, and we really appreciate that. You all appreciate what we do, and support us. That's really important. Any final comments, Karis?
Yeah, again, Minister Yacoba, thank you for having me on. It is an honor to be able to even talk on the platform. If and people can tolerate what I'm saying, because I'll mix in some laughs, but I also like to show the scripture of what we're seeing, because here's the thing, we can get it. It's something for us that we have seen the Most High reveal these things to us. And if you've just gotten to this platform, or you're new to the platform, it went from, we can kind of see things happening, to now it's right on it's going into focus, and I've seen things, and I've talked to Minister Yacoba behind the scenes of what I've seen personally, and it's just all lining up. Now, I didn't know really the time frame, but I knew things were moving. And so, here's the thing. Don't be anxious or afraid for anything, because here's what a lot of the Eurocentric Christianity likes to emphasize on. That judgment is going to be for everybody. Well, here's the thing. Their judgment is going to be of the wicked. Our judgment is going to be of the righteous. So when you take that into account, listen, the Most High has everything taken care of for us. Now, I truly believe like this. Let me just explain it to you. I believe that when you see these vaccines and these things that they're trying to do, in my heart, this is just my opinion. In my heart, I believe it's going to be used for them, because they know how rowdy they are. They're not black folks. See, black folks, you kill one or two of us, okay, all right. For them, mm-mm. And what are they trying to do? They have been sent here to do the will of the Most High, and we know we're the will of the Most High. Those are in the scriptures that we had just quoted in this program. So again, listen, if the Most High has woken you up, this is just my opinion, but I believe this with all my heart. We will be fine. Okay? As long as you are asking the Most High to keep you safe. You're praying for your family. You're praying for your friends. Because not everybody is going to be awoken in this time, or awakened to this thing in this time. And I look at it like how we see with Gideon. The Most High peeled off all the folks, his whole army, and he only came down with 300 men. Well, I look at it like this. There's not that many of us that have stepped out in courage to do what the Most High wants us to do. But in the end, we're going to be protected. So with that, family, shalom and salama.
Yeah, family. So we want to thank you for watching Tail Ministries, and we thank you all who support this ministry. Without you, we couldn't do it. and we really appreciate it. And family, we're going to be in some interesting times. As I mentioned before, you got to be wise as a serpent, gentle as a dove. If you don't have extra food, extra water, I'd get some before the election. I mean, we don't know what's going to happen, right? But we know something may happen. So let's be prudent and look up and lift up your head, Israel, for your redemption draweth nigh. It really is. Love your family with the love of the Messiah. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending.